You're listening to the Crystal Clear English podcast, Learn English, the crystal clear way. And today, well, we're embarking on a deep dive into a topic that touches almost every language learner. It's one that can truly unlock new levels of confidence in your English journey. Have you ever found yourself pausing, maybe searching for the right sound, or perhaps wishing your words landed with just a bit more clarity? Or maybe you've been curious about how to make your pronunciation feel more natural, more authentically you, while still being perfectly understood in any conversation. That aspiration, that desire to feel truly confident when you open your mouth to speak English, it's incredibly common and actually completely achievable.
It's an interesting point you raise because for many, the idea of improving an accent can sometimes come with a lot of baggage. It might conjure up images of, trying to erase who you are or feeling like you need to perfectly mimic someone else entirely. But our own extensive exploration into this topic reveals something far more empowering, far more liberating than simply trying to sound like a native speaker.
Exactly. That's the crucial reframing we really want to offer right from the start here. This deep dive isn't about eradicating your unique voice or erasing your identity. Not at all. Your original accent is a beautiful part of your linguistic journey and your background. It really is. What we've consistently found in all our observations is that the true goal is about enhancing clarity and boosting your confidence. It's about making your unique voice even more effective, ensuring your message is always understood precisely and effortlessly. You absolutely maintain your identity, but you empower your message.
And it's vital to remember that everyone, and I really do mean everyone, even native speakers, has an accent. Think about it for a moment. Someone speaking English from Texas sounds distinctly different from someone speaking English from New York, right?
Totally different.
Both are native speakers, both perfectly understandable, yet each carries a unique regional accent. The same holds true for someone from London compared to someone from Sydney, Australia.
Each has a distinct accent. So the idea of eliminating your accent is not only, well, pretty much an impossible task, but it's entirely unnecessary. It misses the point. The practical goal is to refine your pronunciation, your intonation, the musicality of your speech so that you are always understood clearly, effortlessly, wherever you go. That brings us to a fundamental question, though. How do we achieve that practical, confident clarity in a way that feels natural, authentic, and truly you?
That's the key, isn't it? It's about feeling more fluent, more at ease, and ultimately just more confident in every single conversation you have. Imagine articulating your most complex ideas, your deepest thoughts, your sharpest jokes, your genuine feelings with absolute precision, knowing without a shadow of a doubt that your listener is grasping every nuance. That's the feeling we're aiming for. It's about ensuring your wonderful ideas, your brilliant insights, your unique personality don't get lost in translation or confused due to a simple misunderstanding of a sound or a rhythm. So for you, as an English learner who genuinely wants to communicate more effectively and with greater confidence, where do we begin this journey?
Well, we've uncovered what we believe is a clear, actionable path, almost like a step-by-step roadmap for your accent improvement. This isn't about dry linguistic theory or, rote memorization of rules. Not at all. This is about practical, impactful techniques you could start applying today. Like right after listening to this, we'll explore everything from learning to listen to English like a musician to leveraging incredibly smart modern tools. And even the often overlooked yet profoundly powerful technique of simply talking to yourself. Each step is designed to build on the last, guiding you towards achieving that truly crystal clear English voice you're aiming for.
Okay, so let's dive into our first major discovery, and it might just surprise you. A lot of language learners, understandably, they meticulously practice individual sounds. They try to perfect their the or their R. They drill vocabulary. They master grammar. All good things. But sometimes, even after all that hard work, their speech still doesn't quite sound, well, natural. It's almost as if there's a missing ingredient that makes native speech flow so effortlessly. Have you ever noticed that feeling?
Absolutely, I know exactly what you mean. And that's where our first major insight comes in. It turns out English isn't just about the individual notes, the isolated sounds that make up words. It's about the entire composition of the language. Think about a great piece of music. It's not just the individual notes that make it powerful, is it?
Right.
It's the timing, the dynamics, the way the melody rises and falls, the rhythm section underpinning everything, the subtle pauses and accelerations. English is exactly the same. It has its own unique rhythm, its own stress patterns, its own melody, its own flow. Linguists call it prosody. You need to tune your ear to this linguistic symphony. just like a musician tunes into an orchestra.
That's such a vivid analogy, the linguistic symphony. I like that. So if we're listening like musicians, what's the practical application? How do we actually start playing that symphony?
Okay, that leads us to a really powerful technique called shadowing. It's more than just mimicking or repeating after someone. It's essentially listening and speaking simultaneously, almost like an echo, maybe a half second behind the original speaker. Imagine being a backup singer who's just a beat behind the lead vocalist.
Okay.
You're not waiting for them to finish. You're actively producing the sounds almost as they are. It forces your brain and mouth to keep up with the rhythm and intonation without overthinking. This unique simultaneous action forces you to absorb the rhythm and intonation more effectively, more organically, than simply repeating after a pause. Because when you pause, your brain might just revert to its old familiar habits, right?
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Shadowing trains your brain to process the sound and produce it almost instantaneously. It bypasses that often unhelpful overthinking that can slow down speech.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting and practical for your daily practice. Pick a simple everyday sentence, something you might use regularly, like, "Can you pass me the water?" Now, find a native speaker saying this maybe on a podcast like this one, a TV show, an audio clip online, a YouTube video, whatever. Your goal isn't just to say the individual words, it's to say it exactly the way that native speaker does, almost overlapping their speech. Pay meticulous attention to their tone. Is it friendly, neutral, inquisitive? Notice where they pause, if they pause at all, and how long those pauses are. Which words do they stress? Is it, "Can you pass me the water?" Implying you specifically should do it. Or, "Can you pass me the water?" Emphasizing the item. Or maybe, "Can you pass me the water?" Highlighting the action.
Right. Each emphasis changes the nuance.
Totally.
Yeah.
Try to match their pitch, their speed, even the linking sounds between words, like how "pass me" often sounds like "pass me," not two separate words. It's a full-body vocal workout.
It truly is. It's like vocal karaoke for your accent. You're matching not just the lyrics, but the singer's entire performance. The melody, the rhythm, the emotional delivery. You're trying to sort of embody the speaker's vocal characteristics. Feel the muscles in your mouth and throat working in concert with what your ears are perceiving. This technique alone, when practiced consistently, even for short bursts of time, can dramatically tune your ear to the natural cadences of English. And it trains your mouth muscles to produce those sounds more accurately, more effortlessly. It builds a powerful, intuitive connection between what you hear and what you produce. It makes your speech feel more natural and fluid.
So for your daily practice, the beauty of shadowing is its incredible accessibility, right? You can do this with your favorite shows, pick a character whose voice you admire, and try to mimic their short lines. Try it with podcasts, listen to a conversation, and pick out short phrases to echo, maybe a line from a news report or an interview you find online. You don't need special materials, just engaging content that you actually like listening to. Even just 5 to 10 minutes of focused shadowing a day can start to reshape your speaking habits. It brings you closer to that crystal clear communication. The more you immerse yourself and actively participate in this way, the faster you'll not only hear but really feel the results in your own voice.
Okay, so building on that foundation of listening like a musician, our next crucial insight tells us to get surgical with our practice. While the overall music of English is vital, there are specific individual notes, specific sounds that, if consistently mispronounced, can genuinely derail understanding. You don't need to try and perfect every single sound in English from day one. That's just, it's overwhelming.
Yeah, it sounds exhausting.
Yeah, it is. And it's an inefficient approach that can lead to burnout. The key is to focus your energy strategically on the sounds that most commonly cause confusion for non-native speakers.
That's such a brilliant point because it really emphasizes efficiency in your learning journey. Instead of trying to boil the ocean, like you said, we're focusing on the high leverage points. So what are those sounds then? What are the handful of specific sounds and sound pairs that, if we clarify them, if we produce them consistently, make a truly monumental difference in how clearly we're understood?
Okay, let's delve into some of these specific sounds that often pose challenges. First up is the infamous "the" sound. You knew it was coming, right?
Ah, yeah. A classic.
English has two versions. The voiced "who," as in this, that, thee, or mother, and the unvoiced "oo," as in think, through, or thank you. It's incredibly common, appears in countless high-frequency words, but is often mispronounced by learners, leading to genuine confusion. For instance, think might sound like sink, or three might sound like tree.
Right. Big difference.
Huge difference. The subtle but crucial difference involves placing your tongue gently between your teeth. For the voiced VU, you're vibrating your vocal cords. Put your hand on your throat, you can feel that buzz, right?
Mm-hmm.
For the unvoiced the, it's just air, no vibration. A common pitfall for, say, many French or Arabic speakers is substituting es or ziz sounds. German speakers might use f or v. To really get a handle on it, try practicing minimal pairs like thin versus fine versus tin, or then versus den versus zen, and pay close attention to the position of your tongue and the airflow.
Absolutely. The is a classic. It's one of the first sounds many learners recognize as tricky. Another crucial distinction, which can lead to surprisingly basic misunderstandings, is the V and W difference. Many languages don't differentiate these sounds as clearly as English, or they might not have one of them at all. This can lead to vet sounding like wet, or very sounding like wary.
Yeah, that can be confusing.
Imagine saying you want to go to the wet when you mean go to the vet. It's a totally different scenario. The mouth positions are subtle but distinct. For V, your upper teeth gently touch your lower lip. You create a slight vibration as air passes through. For W, you round your lips forward, almost like you're making a kissy face, and then quickly release. Practice saying vase versus ways, vine versus wine, vote versus wrote. It's all about that precise lip and teeth position.
Then there are the long and short vowels. This is deceptively simple, but incredibly important. A distinction that can completely change meaning. Consider the profound difference between ship, that's a short I sound, like in sit,
Yeah.
and sheep, a long E sound, like in see.
Right. You don't want to mix those up on a farm.
Exactly. Mispronouncing these can totally change the image in the listener's mind. It leads to those moments of awkward confusion or maybe just a polite but bewildered smile. The length and the tension of your mouth muscles for these vowels are crucial. Similarly, think of bed versus bad, or cut versus cat. These distinctions rely on subtle yet critical vowel differences. For practice, try exaggerating the length. Hold the E in sheep longer than the I in ship. Feel the tension in your tongue and jaw.
And we absolutely cannot forget the R and L sounds. For many learners, especially those whose native languages don't have a strong distinction between these, or maybe have very different R-L sounds, words like right versus light can be a real tongue twister. It's funny in a comedy sketch, maybe, but in real life, a misunderstanding over rice and lice. Well, that can be truly frustrating.
Definitely want to avoid that one.
Getting this distinction consistent is super helpful for clarity. The English R often involves curling the tongue back in the middle of your mouth without touching anything. It creates a soft, sort of retroflex sound. The L typically places the tip of your tongue firmly behind your upper teeth. Practice saying red versus lead, collect versus correct. These small adjustments prevent misinterpretations and allow your speech to flow more naturally and clearly.
The overarching insight here really is that you absolutely do not need 100% perfection across every single English sound, especially not in the early stages of your learning journey. That pursuit of absolute perfection can be paralyzing. It can be counterproductive. The true practical goal is to be consistent enough with these high-impact sounds so that the meaning you intend is always crystal clear to your listener. It's about achieving effective communication, intelligibility, not flawless articulation that sounds like a textbook.
Right.
It's about building a solid, unshakable foundation where your core message can never be misunderstood due to a specific sound. Focus your effort where it truly matters, and you'll see the biggest gains.
So for your daily practice, this means prioritizing. Instead of trying to fix everything at once, dedicate a small, focused block of time each day, maybe just 5 or 10 minutes, specifically to these sounds that often cause trouble. Use those minimal pairs we discussed, practice saying them in short, simple sentences, and really feel what your mouth, tongue, and lips are doing. Pay attention to the muscle movements. You'll be amazed at the significant return on your effort. Your overall clarity will jump dramatically, making your conversations so much smoother and more enjoyable for both you and your listeners. Okay, now, we've talked about tuning your ear to the music of English, and we've discussed isolating and refining those tricky notes. But how do you really truly know if you're hitting them correctly? This next technique, while incredibly simple, is probably the fastest way to get honest, unfiltered, immediate feedback on your own voice. Our third powerful insight is this. Record yourself speaking English. It's a tool that's often overlooked by learners, even experienced ones, yet it is profoundly effective. It's like holding up a perfectly objective mirror to your voice.
It's fascinating how our brains work, isn't it? When we speak, our brains often hear what we intend to say, not necessarily what we actually say.
Right. That makes sense.
Our internal auditory feedback loop can be quite forgiving, or simply accustomed to our own long-standing speech patterns. This means that without an external reference, you might be unconsciously repeating the same subtle errors over and over again. Recording yourself provides that objective, unbiased mirror for your speech. It allows you to step outside your own head and listen as an impartial observer. It raises a really critical question. Are you truly hearing yourself the way others hear you? Most likely, not always. And that's why this step is so transformative.
The truly great news here is that you don't need any fancy or expensive equipment to do this at all. Your phone's built-in voice recorder is perfectly fine. Almost everyone has one. It's accessible, it's convenient, and it's immediate. The real key here is consistency, not perfection in the recording quality. Try recording a small paragraph from an article you're reading, maybe a few sentences from a book, or even just a sentence or two from your daily life, narrating what you're doing. Make it a quick, no-pressure habit. It's about building the discipline of self-observation.
Then comes the absolutely critical step.
Yeah.
Listen back. And what's even more powerful, I think, is to compare your recording directly with a native speaker's version of the exact same text or phrase.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Play a sentence from the native speaker, then immediately play your version. You'll start noticing subtle yet significant differences that you would likely never perceive just by speaking in real time. Perhaps you'll notice a difference in your overall rhythm and flow, specific vowel sounds that aren't quite matching the target, or even how you end a word or connect it to the next one. You might discover a rising intonation where a native speaker's voice falls, or a different stress on a particular word that changes the emphasis. This direct, side-by-side comparison highlights discrepancies that are incredibly difficult to catch otherwise. It provides you with actionable, personalized feedback.
And trust us on this. This technique alone makes a huge measurable difference in just a few weeks of consistent practice. It really does. It's not just about identifying mistakes, though that's certainly part of it. It's profoundly about building a critical listening skill for your own voice. It's an aha moment waiting to happen, where you suddenly hear what you've been missing, what you've been unconsciously doing. And that awareness that self-perception is the first crucial step towards targeted correction and rapid improvement. It creates a powerful, immediate self-feedback loop that truly accelerates your progress in ways you might not have thought possible.
And if we zoom out a bit, connect this to the broader picture of skill acquisition.
Yep.
Self-correction is really the engine of progress in almost any field. Whether it's playing an instrument, learning a new sport, mastering a complex craft.
Right.
The ability to objectively observe your own performance, identify specific areas for growth, and then make targeted adjustments based on that observation, that's an invaluable skill. Language learning and accent improvement specifically is absolutely no exception. The more you engage in this self-reflective practice, the more rapidly and effectively you'll refine your English accent. You become your own best teacher in a way.
Okay, so we've honed our listening skills, we've gotten surgical with individual sounds, and we're mastering the art of self-correction through recording. But you might be thinking, how can I get that objective mirror, that instant analysis, without needing a constant human tutor by my side?
That's a great point. And thankfully, what we've discovered is that modern technology has absolutely revolutionized this. Our fourth insight is all about embracing the incredible technological advancements available today. The landscape of language learning tools has just exploded, and many are specifically designed with sophisticated features for accent training, features that were unimaginable just a few years ago.
These aren't just fancy gadgets. They are truly powerful allies in your journey towards clearer, more confident English.
It's truly remarkable how far these tools have come. It really is. The real revelation here is how they provide immediate, objective, and incredibly consistent feedback. Feedback that even a human tutor might not always be available to give or might not be able to offer with the same level of precise real-time analysis. Many of them can analyze your speech patterns, pinpoint specific sounds that need work, and even show you visual representations of your pronunciation in incredible detail. So the question becomes, how can you best utilize these powerful digital aids to maximize your practice time and accelerate your improvement in a way that's both efficient and hopefully engaging?
Well, you absolutely have a wealth of options at your fingertips now. You might want to explore dedicated apps like ELSA Speak. It often uses advanced artificial intelligence to analyze your pronunciation right down to the individual sound and syllable. It gives you incredibly specific guidance, highlighting exactly where you're deviating from the target sound and suggesting precise adjustments for your tongue, lips, airflow.
Wow.
It's like having a dedicated pronunciation coach in your pocket, always ready for a practice session, available 24/7. Then there's Youglish, which is an amazing resource for real-world context and variations. It lets you search for almost any word or phrase, and then it pulls up thousands of YouTube videos where those words are used in natural, authentic context by different speakers with varying accents.
Oh, that's clever.
Yeah. It's invaluable for seeing and hearing words in action, understanding how they fit into sentences, and observing the natural rhythm.
And for individual word pronunciation, Forvo is fantastic. It's a massive, community-driven pronunciation dictionary. You can hear words spoken by native speakers from various regions all around the world. So if you're curious about how schedule is pronounced in American English versus British English, for example,
Right.
or you want to understand regional variations of a certain word, Forvo provides that incredible depth and diversity of real-world examples. And, surprisingly, don't overlook Google Translate's voice feature. While it might seem basic, it's a quick and practical way to get instant pragmatic feedback. If Google's AI can understand your pronunciation of a phrase, chances are a human will too.
Good point.
It serves as a great, simple, immediate feedback loop for clarity.
Some of these more advanced tools even provide real-time visual feedback. Imagine speaking into your phone and seeing like a sound wave or a phonetic chart appear on your screen, highlighting exactly where your pronunciation deviates from the target sound as you speak.
That sounds incredibly useful.
It's so powerful to see a visual representation of your voice and be able to adjust in the moment. This immediate feedback loop is so crucial for building strong muscle memory in your mouth and tongue. And it leads to remarkably rapid learning because you're correcting in real time.
And if we think broadly about the implications, these tools truly democratize accent practice.
Yeah.
You really do. They make high-quality, personalized feedback accessible to anyone with a smartphone or internet connection, regardless of their geographical location or budget. They empower you to take ownership of your pronunciation journey, allowing for consistent, targeted practice outside of formal lessons. You can drill specific sounds or phrases repeatedly until they become natural. It transforms passive learning into active, responsive engagement whenever and wherever you choose. They really are a game changer for independent learners. Okay, before we dive into our next powerful insight, it's just a quick moment. If you're enjoying this deep dive into achieving crystal clear English and you're finding these nuggets of knowledge helpful, make sure you hit that follow or subscribe button wherever you're listening to the Crystal Clear English podcast. We've got so many more amazing explorations planned to help you master English, and you really won't want to miss a single one. Your support helps us keep bringing you these valuable insights and practical strategies. Okay, let's get back to it. So we've tuned our ears, we've targeted specific sounds, we're using technology for precise feedback. But all that listening and analyzing has to lead somewhere, right? It needs an outlet. Our fifth, and perhaps most liberating insight is this. Want to truly improve your speaking and your accent? Then speak. It sounds incredibly simple, almost too simple to be profound, maybe.
Yeah, almost obvious.
But consistent active speaking is the absolute bedrock of fluency and confidence. And it's especially vital for refining your accent. You can study all the grammar rules and vocabulary lists in the world. You can listen for hours.
Yeah.
But if you're not actively using your voice to produce the language, your accent simply won't improve as effectively or as rapidly. It just won't stick the same way.
Which brings us to a crucial question that many learners grapple with, right? If you don't always have a practice partner or a native speaker or a tutor readily available, how do you manage to speak English daily, consistently?
Yeah, that's the challenge.
And this is where the profound and, I think, often underestimated power of internal dialogue made external comes in. Speaking to yourself isn't just some quirky habit. It's a remarkably effective way to solidify new language patterns, to make English a natural extension of your thoughts, and to build that essential muscle memory in your mouth and tongue. It's a completely zero-pressure environment for experimentation, repetition, and just getting comfortable hearing your own voice speaking English.
Yes. It might feel a little strange at first, I get it. Perhaps even a bit awkward, like you're having a conversation with an invisible friend. But trust us, it's one of the most effective and accessible ways to get in consistent, daily speaking practice without needing anyone else. Talk to yourself while you're cooking dinner. Narrate your steps aloud as you chop vegetables. Okay, first I'm going to dice the onion, then I'll saute the garlic. Speak out loud when you're taking a walk. Describe what you see around you. Oh, look at that beautiful old tree. Its leaves are turning golden. Even just getting ready in the morning, narrate your routine. First, I'm going to brush my teeth. Then I'll make a strong cup of coffee. Literally narrate your day. It forces you to externalize your thoughts and actively engages your mouth and brain to produce the sounds and rhythms of English.
A simple, highly effective technique is just to vocalize your day's plan or describe your current activities. For example, as you're making a cup of tea, you might say, "Okay, I'm boiling the water now. Next, I'll put the tea bag in the mug and let it steep for a few minutes." Or if you're planning your evening, "Tonight, I think I'm going to read that new book I just bought and then maybe watch a movie, perhaps a comedy to relax."
Right.
This consistent low-stakes practice builds crucial muscle memory for your mouth and brain without the pressure of an audience. It allows you to experiment with sounds, rhythms, intonation in a safe, unjudgmental space. It's about transforming English from something you just study into something you actively do, making it a truly active part of your daily cognitive process.
And it truly builds confidence and fluency remarkably fast.
Yeah.
It really does. When you consistently hear your own voice producing English sounds and sentences, even if it's just to yourself, it subtly desensitizes you to the act of speaking. It makes the language feel more natural, more like yours, less like a foreign entity you're grappling with.
Yep.
You're actively activating those neural pathways, transforming theoretical knowledge into practical embodied skill. This consistent, effortless internal dialogue then translates directly into more confident, more fluent, and more natural external communication when you're speaking with others. It helps bridge that gap between just understanding and actually producing the language smoothly.
And if we zoom out a bit again, connect this to the bigger picture of language acquisition. The more you externalize your thoughts, your observations, your plans, your internal monologues in English, the more comfortable and automatic the language becomes.
Right. Automaticity.
Exactly. This is a critical step for transitioning from thinking about English, where you might be constantly translating in your head, which is exhausting, to thinking in English, where the words and phrases flow directly from your thoughts without that intermediate translation step. This level of automaticity is the key for truly fluent, natural communication. It frees up immense cognitive resources that would otherwise be spent on translating, allowing you to focus purely on the message itself and the interaction you're having with the other person.
Okay, now for a bonus insight. A real secret sauce, if you will, to sounding not just correct, but genuinely natural and expressive in English. Many learners focus heavily on individual sounds, and that's fantastic. As we've discussed, it's foundational. But they often overlook two incredibly crucial elements: word stress and intonation. English isn't flat. It's not monotonous or robotic. It has dynamic peaks and valleys, loud parts and soft parts, quick stretches and lingering pauses, just like a dynamic piece of music. This means this interplay of stress and intonation conveys a tremendous amount of meaning, emotion, and attitude.
It's truly fascinating how much meaning can be conveyed or even entirely changed simply by altering which syllable you emphasize within a word, or whether your voice rises or falls at the end of a sentence. It's incredibly powerful. And often, without realizing it, non-native speakers might flatten their intonation or consistently misplace word stress, which can make their speech sound less natural, maybe a bit robotic, or at worst, genuinely confusing for native listeners.
Yeah, it can throw people off.
It really can. It raises an important question. Are you truly hearing the music of English words and sentences, or just the individual notes? Are you perceiving the rhythm and melody, or just the disconnected sounds?
Let's look at a perfect example of how word stress works its magic. Take the word photograph versus photographer. Hear that shift.
Yeah, clear difference.
In photograph, the picture itself, the emphasis, the louder, higher-pitched syllable falls on the first part, photograph. But when we talk about photographer, the person who takes the picture, the stress shifts to the second syllable, photographer.
Right.
The meaning completely changes based on where that emphasis falls. Another great one is record, the noun, like a music record, a historical record, versus record, the verb, to record something, to record a song. These subtle but consistent shifts are absolutely native to English, and mastering them significantly enhances not just your clarity, but how natural and fluent you sound.
And intonation, the rise and fall of your voice over entire sentences, matters just as much. Maybe even more, especially in conversational English where emotion and nuance are key. For example, when asking a simple yes-no question, your tone often rises sharply at the end. Are you coming? That upward inflection signals curiosity, inquiry, a genuine question. If your voice falls at the end, are you coming? It might sound like a statement of fact or even an accusation, not a genuine question at all.
Right. Completely different feel.
Totally. Similarly, A tone of surprise might have a sharp rise and fall, while a bored or indifferent tone might be very flat and monotonous. Intonation conveys attitude, emotion, and your underlying purpose in speaking. It's the emotional brushstroke of your words.
So for your daily practice, what does this all mean? How do you work on this? As you're listening and shadowing, as you're recording yourself, pay extra specific attention not just to the individual sounds, but to where the emphasis falls within words and sentences. Don't just listen for the notes. Listen for the beat of the language, the rhythm section.
Feel the rhythm.
Notice how the pitch of the speaker's voice changes throughout a sentence. When does it rise? When does it fall? When does it stay flat? Try to replicate that musicality, that ebb and flow in your own speech. This conscious attention to stress and intonation will elevate your English beyond simply being grammatically correct and understandable. It will make it sound genuinely natural, expressive, and truly like a native speaker's way of communicating.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture one last time, mastering word stress and intonation is what truly elevates your English. From simply being grammatically correct and understandable, which is great, to sounding genuinely natural, fluent, and expressive, it allows you to convey nuance, subtle meaning, and emotional depth that individual sounds alone just cannot capture.
Yeah.
It's the difference between playing the notes of a song correctly and truly performing the melody with feeling. Connecting with your audience on a deeper level, it's the final polish that makes your English truly shine. #tags concluding thoughts.
Okay, as we wrap up this deep dive into achieving crystal clear English, let's circle back to our core message, something we really want to instill in you. Improving your accent is absolutely not about erasing your identity. It's not about losing what makes your voice unique. Your linguistic background, your original accent, is a beautiful part of who you are. It's a testament to your journey and your incredible ability to learn a new language. This journey is about enhancing clarity, boosting your confidence, and making sure your message is always heard exactly as you intend it, without any hesitation or misunderstanding.
Be profoundly proud of your voice. Be proud of your linguistic journey. Be proud of the effort you're putting into communicating so effectively in English. The goal is simply to refine it, step by step, using these accessible and powerful techniques we've discussed today, so that your message always comes through loud and clear. Embrace the process, celebrate every small improvement, and recognize the incredible progress you're making every single day. Your confidence will grow exponentially with every practice session.
And here's our final thought for you, a powerful mantra maybe, to carry forward in your daily practice. Speak more, fear less. Every single time you open your mouth to practice, even if it's just to yourself, you're building confidence, clarity, and fluency. Don't let the fear of making mistakes, the fear of not sounding perfect hold you back. Every attempt is a step forward.
Exactly. Embrace every opportunity to use your voice. Know that each practice session, each attempt, each moment of self-correction brings you closer to your communication goals. Your voice is a powerful tool, and with a little targeted refinement and consistent practice, it'll become an even more effective, more natural, and more confident conduit for your thoughts and ideas.
We truly hope this deep dive into improving your English accent has given you valuable insights and practical, actionable steps you can start implementing today. If you enjoyed this exploration and found these nuggets of knowledge helpful, please make sure you follow or subscribe to the Crystal Clear English podcast on your favorite podcast platform. We love bringing you these insights, and your support helps us keep diving deeper into fascinating topics to help you master English.
Thank you for listening to the Crystal Clear English podcast.
And remember, as the saying goes,
Learning another language is like becoming another person.